Frank, let's get straight to it. What do the votes that you've seen come in so far and the polls suggest to you will be the outcome?
I came down to Georgia, and I'm still here because I wanted to see it for myself. I watched the Biden rally yesterday and the Trump rally last night, and the Democrats are more energized. The Democrats are much more united. And I want to raise this point. Donald Trump, in his first few seconds when he came out to speak to his rally, did not talk about the two Senate candidates, spoke about his own being robbed, his own election. Several times he told them that he won in a landslide, and all this does is depress Republican turnout. In fact, I passed a number of billboards yesterday on the way to the rally. It was about 2 hours from Atlanta, in a very good place for the GOP, in the rural areas that had turned out very strongly for Trump. And there were several billboards up there telling Republicans, don't vote for either of the Republican candidates because they've not done enough for Donald Trump. It's incredible to me that in an election that is so important, there you've got David Perdue, he couldn't even show up at the rally because of COVID concerns that he had tested positive. At a time when you need every possible vote, and Democrats are voting in record numbers over the last 2-3 weeks, Republicans are being told to stay home. And that Donald Trump, when he shows up to deliver that final rallying cry, he spends as much time talking about his own election as he does about the Republicans. I would say to people watching, I think you should have sold your stock in late December, knowing the impact that this election is going to have on the markets and on business. I'd be very nervous about what's going to happen tonight because I think the Democrats do have, and I've looked at the early votes, I've looked at the absentee votes, I think the Democrats have an advantage. And I think that that's the reason why Wall Street had such a bad day yesterday. They're starting to figure out what us pollsters know, that the Democrats have an advantage in today's election.
Frank, so you're calling it for the Dems. How quickly, one of the questions we've been asking is how quickly you think we will know the outcome of this runoff?
So you asked me the same question 3 weeks before the election, and I gave you a tick-tock of hour by hour, day by day. And in the end, I thought it would be Saturday. I don't think we're going to know tonight. I think it's going to be early a.m. tomorrow. I give the Georgians credit. They know how to run an election. They know how to count votes very quickly. And no, they cannot find the 11,000 votes that Donald Trump asked the Secretary of State. It is outrageous, the politics that are going on, and people have every right to be angry and every right to be frustrated. And I was told several times yesterday that I should go back home, get out of there, because, frankly, it's my responsibility to tell you the truth. I don't think we're going to know by midnight tonight. I think when you and I talk again tomorrow morning is about the time that we'll know who the next senators are from Georgia.
Frank, you know, in the setup to this piece, I mentioned that, I should say, actually, hundreds of CEOs came out against this idea being brought by a number of senators and members of Congress who plan to object to the certification of the election tomorrow. How much do you think that plays in the voters' minds in Georgia today?
I don't think it plays much in the minds of Georgians, but it plays in the minds of Republicans in Washington. Kevin McCarthy is so close to becoming Speaker. In fact, if you look at the elections over the last 50 years, when you're this close, you're only 6 votes from the majority, it gives McCarthy the chance to become Speaker in the next election. However, there is greater divide, and I see you're showing Ossoff here. There's a greater divide in the Republican Party than there is in the Democratic Party, and I'm listening to the language that's being used in Washington over the last 48 hours. And it is significant. The party's in the process of tearing itself apart. And you don't do that now when you're this close to the most important Senate election, clearly, in my lifetime. The Democrats are unified, Republicans are not, and that's what gives them the advantage. And in Washington, I think the next 48 hours are going to be among the worst for the GOP.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.